Good evening, everybody. So excited that you're all here tonight. We have a very packed meeting, and we've got a very special guest tonight. All the way from Delaware, we have the new president and CEO of the National Down Syndrome Society, Candy Picard. And we're going to start off first. Sean Hussey and Brian Hussey. This is a video that came from Pam Hussey, his mom, from about 8 years ago. But we're going to start out with him doing a rendition of God Bless America.
Ready? God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain through the prairie to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Well, thank you, Sean and Brian, for that wonderful rendition. So awesome. First, we're going to go and speak to a young lady who is a high school student at Effingham High School, and her name is Ella. Hello, Ella. How are you?
Say it again.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ella Marchese.
So good to see you. And so just so everybody knows, Ella is in her third year of karate. Isn't that right, Ella?
Yes, sir. That's it is.
And you've progressed from, what have you progressed from? You started out as a white belt?
First, I had the white belt.
Awesome.
And then second, I have my yellow belt.
Yellow
and
belt.
Purple belt.
Purple belt. And then what are you now?
And right now, I have an orange belt.
So tell me, Ella, did you have to do certain things to go from one belt to another?
Yes, sir.
You had to do a test?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So Ella, she's going to show some of her moves tonight. So Ella, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you show some of your moves, okay?
Okay.
All right, tell them fighting stance.
And that's it for today.
Well, that is awesome.
Thank you.
You are such an inspiration. There are so many little girls out there that see you and just, they aspire to what you've done. So I am so glad that you came on tonight and so glad that you showed your moves. And I'm sure that we're going to get some comments from people. Would you be willing to show some people some of those moves if they can come and see you?
Yes, sir.
Why don't
we do lots of good things. We do special kicks, juniors, and everybody else.
And tell me again, where is it that you meet? What is the name of your studio?
Carson Fortner's Roller Karate.
Awesome.
On Rogers Street.
Well, thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go and I'll see you later. Okay, Ella?
Okay, bye.
All right. Have a good night. So next I want to go to uh, Michael Holton is a young man. He's 26 years old, and he is currently the vice president of our group. And he is going to do the introduction to our speaker tonight. Hello, Michael.
My name is Good evening. My name is Michael Hilton. I'm 26 years old. I was homecoming at South FM High School in 2012. I worked at FM Health System and earned honor 5th year award by performing there. I'm the first ever South advocate of the board of directors for Lowcountry Society. I recently served as vice president at Lowcountry Society. I have the honor tonight to introduce our guest, Katie Picard, President and CEO of the National Autism Society. The National Society is leading human rights organization for individuals with Down syndrome. Katie provides version leadership, work with people and organizations, supports Down syndrome community. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Pickle.
Well, thank you, Michael, so much. That was a wonderful introduction.
Thanks.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, hello, Candy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? So
I'm
I just realized that Candy is live from Delaware. She has just got her whole family to move during the pandemic, which is quite a thing in itself.
I mean, what
but we're
else do you do, right?
Exactly. But, we're so excited that you're here. Your vision, your passion as a leader, how you speak for the community. We're just so excited, and we're excited that you're here tonight.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you. Yeah, thank you so much. So tell me, first of all, let me know about your family. How's everybody doing?
Everybody's great. I have to say, I mean, it's not what you typically do is move in the middle of a pandemic, but we had made the goal and the plan to do it before COVID kind of, affected all of us in so many different ways. And so we thought we'd just go with it and get settled in while we were finding out what was new in Delaware. So it's been very interesting, but everybody's healthy. They're safe. They're well. I'm blessed.
Great. That's awesome. Now your oldest son is in college, right? And your daughter in virtual college.
Virtually.
Yeah. We're the same way. Our boys are, well, they're there because they do a couple labs, but they're doing most of their stuff virtual as well.
Yeah. My daughter will start high school, and then I have 4 total. So, and then Preston will be in 5th grade, and then Mason will be starting 2nd grade, which is my son with Down syndrome.
Wow. So exciting. We were lucky that Candy actually came down to a couple of events in Savannah with us. And that was before you actually were president and CEO. And now it was this time last year that you became president and CEO?
Yeah, it was July last year. So just over a year that I've been in this role. So I'm feeling like I think I've got my feet wet a little bit now and really kind of navigating new territory. I mean, we've never had to really transition our offices to virtual, and our entire team, including our, about 33% of our staff have Down syndrome. And so we've really shifted, and everybody, I have to say, I mean, I've said this before, we have the best team because everybody has just adapted and found new ways to continue to serve our community. So I'm very lucky.
Which is great. I think that's kind of the new norm now. I think everybody is, had to pivot and do what they could do the best. And, like the buddy walk being virtual this year, it's, everybody's changing and we're doing the same, but I think it'll work out.
It will. We're doing our New York City, which is our flagship buddy walk. We're doing it virtually also. And it's interesting for us because I was chatting with the team today a little bit about it is, you're able to engage folks in such a different way being virtual that, I think allows them to still participate and feel safe, but still have that meaningful connection. So it'll be a lot of fun. I think a lot of walks are going virtual this year just to kind of accommodate what their community is wanting.
Right. Hey, would you kind of take me back and, what was your inspiration? How you got started in this? There's a lot of families out there watching right now, some new families that are getting started, some families that have been involved, but a little bit of your history and the why behind what motivates you.
Oh my gosh, I'm happy to. I have to say I'm thrilled to be here. So thank you for inviting me to be part of this conversation. And I'd be lying if I said LDSS in Savannah is not one of my favorite places to come and visit and to be part of. I think I have 2 Night of Champions under my belt and, maybe 1 or 2 other just visits. So really excited to kind of be here with you guys. But, my journey really started, it's funny. I remember sitting back as a mother being pregnant with my 4th child and just thinking like, I'm just looking for that purpose. I'm looking for something else to feel a connection to. And then I had Mason and he had Down syndrome. And I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe this is what, my calling is. And so I wanted to get involved and I got involved in our local group, very similar to Lowcountry, and just dove in as much as I could. And, first and foremost, I was a parent, but I was also an advocate and I volunteered. I sat on their board. I had the opportunity DSS that came down to speak about some of the legislative priorities that they were working on. And we made a connection. And it was really interesting because I thought never in a million years would I have the experience or really even be able to move to Washington, D.C. and to work for a national group. And I found my niche within the organization and we found a fit. And here we are 8 years later. Never in a million years did I think that I would have the privilege of running this organization as a parent and as an advocate, and really putting what I feel is important, but also looking at our broader community and what is so valuable to all of us and leading with that kind of opportunity. It's very humbling for me.
Well, thank you. When we started this group in Savannah, it was kind of the same idea of, we wanted to do best for what our children, and out of that, it just, there's so many opportunities that open up because, people are excited to join in the journey. And, that's kind of fun part of it as well. If you could, we were talking earlier about some of the structural issues. There was a video most recently that was on the NDSS website that had a young lady with Down syndrome and talked about some of the things that she encounters. And so I kind of wanted you to talk about some of those issues. The idea of getting to equal, of my child and your child seen as a regular person within the community. They're not seen as different, even though we highlight those differences and we celebrate those differences. We want that to be part of the community. One of the things that I've always said is that I want my daughter to experience the same type of relationship that my wife and I have. And, one of the issues dealing with people with Down syndrome is marriage and benefits that are associated with that.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of our top legislative priorities is our marriage access bill. A lot of folks don't realize that people with Down syndrome can't get married like anybody else, or they risk losing their Social Security benefits if they get married. And so you'll see a lot of stories, and we've highlighted a lot of those on our website about individuals who have done a civil union or they live in separate states. So that way they can maintain their benefits and maintain, these services that help them every day with their job and with living and, everything that just encompasses what they do. So it's interesting because it's most people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They need these benefits to just function independently, and they'll miss that. So we're working on, we've introduced this bill, and what it will allow is really looking at this issue and allowing that opportunity for, for all of our children and our loved ones to get married just as anybody else can without the risk of losing their benefits.
Very good. So that's an ongoing legislation right now?
Yes, it is. It's one of our top priorities, along with a couple of other pieces that maybe we'll touch on here in our conversation. But we are actively, right now we can't go to Capitol Hill. And so we're having meetings via Zoom and, other kind of platforms to where we're still having those opportunities to have our constituents talk to their members. And we can still encourage that. Talk to your members. You can go to our website and it's got a whole full list of, the priorities and a lot of the details, much more detailed than what I'm sharing around the reasons for us to really kind of push this legislation and why it's important. And as Michael knows, he's been on our Buddy Walk on Washington, our Hill Day. Like, it's so important for our representatives to hear from our self-advocates and to hear from these families, especially for those of you that are living right there in their, in their community. They listen to us, but they listen much better to you all that live right there where they work. And they're responsible for all of your, needs. So it's very, very valuable.
Excellent advice. Do you on the website have the ways that people can get involved with participating in that way?
Absolutely. So we have right now, like I said, we're calling it the Buddy Walk to End Law Syndrome, where we're doing some virtual meetings with our representatives. And our team would be happy to help coordinate some of those meetings and participate if that's something that you all would like them to participate in. But we also have opportunities. We have our DS Ambassador program, which allows people to be part of our advocacy and policy initiatives and really know what we're working on, our grassroots advocacy. And I have to say, like, when I first started this kind of journey with Down syndrome, I was very intimidated by advocacy and policy. I always felt like I sat back and said, I don't know anything about Capitol Hill, and why is my story important? And I attended my first meeting and learned a little bit more. And again, I realized like my voice and my story is much more important than any other message or story that I could share about these particular issues. So I encourage, everybody to learn a little bit more on how they can be involved, because we want folks to be able to have their voice heard on Capitol Hill.
Excellent. Another topic to talk about, actually, our Night of Champions, which you have been down for, got canceled April 2nd during COVID. And actually next Thursday, September 3rd, we're doing our presentation of our winners this year. So we're going to be on this format, and our President's Award as well is going to be next Thursday. It'll be September 3rd. But, touch on some of the issues around workplace, around fair wages, sub-minimum wages, and even the VOIA grants that were recently announced by NDSS.
Absolutely. No, I'm happy to. We're really, employment, I think, is that next frontier for us at NDSS, is really looking at what our community needs. We're seeing more inclusion in schools, and I think that we want folks to be integrated right into the workplace or in post-secondary education, depending on what fits best for their families. But again, another one of our top priorities is phasing out these 14C certificates, which, for those that may not know, allows organizations to pay pennies on the dollar to individuals to do work that you and I would be paid minimum wage to do. And so we're working with members on both the House and Senate to really phase out these wage practices. As I mentioned, like, people can be paid pennies on the hour to do the same piece. And by phasing out or phasing out these certificates, this legislation gives folks access to training environments and allows them to learn meaningful skills and better employment opportunities. And the most important piece is to earn a meaningful wage for the work that they're doing.
Yeah. It almost, it seems discriminatory in some ways that, if they're doing the job and doing the work, they should be compensated in the same level. And a lot of these companies are being compensated as well to hire people that are differently abled. So, it's only fair that that they get trained and they get paid for the work that they do.
Yeah. Well, and I think one thing to mention too is a lot of, families, they feel like this is their connection to employment for their individuals. And I think that, that's a piece that we really listen to and we take into consideration. And we don't want to just overnight, like, shut down these, as we call them, sheltered workshops, or these workshops where folks are working, because we want to phase them out. And that's what the legislation really does is it includes, the financial backing to allow them to transition into a typical employment environment. So we do take into consideration, folks that this is all that they know. And, we want them to just, like I said, have access to these better employment opportunities and also be paid a fair wage.
Yeah, excellent. Hey, so touch on how Voya and NDSS have joined together with for entrepreneurs for grants.
Well, I'm really excited about this. As as most of you may know that follow us on social media, Voya is one of our premier partners, and we're thrilled to continue to partner with them in unique ways. And this month, or October, obviously, is Disability Employment Month, and we have partnered with them to give $55,000 in grants to individuals with Down syndrome who either want to start their own business or invest more capital into their already, established business. And so, just to kind of reference, there is more information on our website, but we're thrilled. Our entire goal here was to, take folks that have these kind of incubator ideas or this idea in the back of their mind where they're thinking, I wonder if I could do that, or I wonder what I could do, but I don't know where to start. Like, we want to hear these stories. We want you to apply because we want to help foster these ideas and help put some capital behind it.
Yeah. John's Crazy Socks, they were down, they were one of our premier speakers at Night of Champions a year ago. It was last year, but it's John Cronin, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And, it started out as an idea, and now he employs many people in his business, and they get these socks out to everybody in the world, which is awesome.
They do. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but we've worked with John. John obviously sits on our board too, and he's my boss. But we get to, one of the cool part about it is we're actually working with them to highlight, we're going to call it a Down syndrome box. And I don't think we've announced this yet, so my team will probably be very upset with me for sharing it. But we
first here.
Opportunity, right? You heard it here first. To take some of these incredible self-advocate owned businesses and highlight them and put them in kind of a curated box for families and for individuals and even other businesses to be able to learn more about these amazing businesses that our self-advocates have started and that are thriving and that are providing so much, good to their communities and, just to our economy, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I think that's the secret sauce, what a great way for, families that think, well, what am I going to do after high school? And then they can come up with a business and thrive. I mean, that's just awesome.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I think parent thinking in the back of our head, what's next? What are we going to do if school is not, the next step? So it's a great option.
Right. Yeah. So I know one of the things that is very, near and dear to your heart is the idea of what is the next step for aged individuals with Down syndrome, initiatives that are being set up to help those individuals, programs, advocacy, that type of thing. And I know that's been kind of one of your pillars of your presidency. So you can speak to that.
It is. And I'm really excited. It's funny because it feels like I had a call today with the team about this and some of the work that we're doing around it. I mean, I see our families and our loved ones with Down syndrome as they're aging, and I really look at the future of what that's going to look like for Mason's life and all of our loved ones. And I really want NDSS to be at the forefront of providing, much needed content and support to these families. I think, some of these families in the past maybe haven't felt like they had a home within NDSS because it hasn't been something that we've always focused on. And like you said, as I kind of transition into this role, I am dedicated to making sure that this is the piece that is, probably, hopefully my legacy as my time ends at some point in time. But we want to break down these barriers and find ways to ensure that, folks of all ages of life, but including adults, really have the resources and the pieces that they need. And so we're, as we've done the Adult Summit, for the last, 3 years, we've really grown that and really kind of shared some topics that go from, like we mentioned, employment to legislation, but also tying into some of these health discrepancies and looking at individual communities and where we need to have more conversations and partnerships with organizations that are looking at aging and Alzheimer's. They're looking at caregiving. Right now we're all experiencing kind of caregiver burnout in one way or the other, and highlighting some of these topics and issues and putting our aging adults, because for me, they inspire me. I love listening and talking to families who have been down this road already and have led us to where we are right now. I mean, I think that we've come so far, and the, people living longer with Down syndrome. Imagine what we can do as we look forward the next, 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, when we first started this group, it's a different generation, people just 15 years before us. And, a lot of wisdom there, a lot of things to build upon, but, they're facing some things that, it's difficult on top of a normal family aging and changes that occur, decisions that have to be made. My boys fight about who's going to have Lainey come with them. And I said, well, hopefully she'll have her own place, that she won't need to be with you. But, the siblings think about that,
They do. And John, I think that's interesting you say that, because we have these similar conversations at my home around this too. But I think that what the difference is, we get calls on our helpline, at least a handful every week that say, now I'm the caregiver of, I don't know what Medicaid is. I don't know what services. I don't, and then they live in different states, which just adds to the confusion and adds to the, not understanding the whole process. And I think, we will help navigate through those steps. But I think that's a little bit of the difference now too, is we're realizing at a younger age, that we have to set up these supports, and not that we don't want that independence for our loved ones with Down syndrome, because we do, but I think that we do have to, set that path of, support for when they do need it and if they do need it.
Right. Hey, would you speak a little bit to the Adult Summit that NDSS puts on too, and what that resource is for people?
Absolutely. So the Adult Summit, we're in our 3rd year of the Adult Summit. It's crazy to believe. I remember doing the first Adult Summit, and it was quite a bit of work. But what we've done is this year we went virtual, as many others have done because of COVID. But we really look at the voices of experts and individuals living with Down syndrome. This year we had over 65 sessions that really touched on topics of saving, financial freedom. We talked about caregiving, the role of siblings as we talk about siblings, regression, Alzheimer's disease, a variety of pieces. We do have information on our website that does kind of tie into some of those resources. And if folks are interested, we have all the Zoom conferences and everything else still locked in there. So, if folks are still interested, I think discounted the rate for folks to have access to that information and those resources to kind of learn a little bit more. So we're continuing to build off of that. I think what we're going to do in 2021 is we're going to do, probably another virtual, kind of a little bit smaller Adult Summit, and then really look to 2022 when we should really be able to gather in large gatherings again and get everybody together, and really kick this off for our 5th annual. Now,
it's typically done in Washington, D.C. typically?
No, we've taken it on the road. So our first one was in D.C., and then we went to Detroit. Our plan this year was to be in Arizona. And so I tasked the team today. I was like, we need to narrow down where we want to host this in 2022, because we want it to be a place that's, where folks can go. It's expensive to come and to fly into DC, and we want to take that into consideration as people are traveling and what they need. So we try to find, big hubs that folks can easily fly in and out of, where it's drivable and it's cost effective for folks to attend and participate. But we're really excited because we do have, typically in the last few years, we've been able to get some additional grants to help support families that may not be able to afford to come, to help kind of alleviate some of those costs.
Which is great.
Do that again. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Well, lastly, Candy, Dr. Ben Spitelnik, who's on our board, he came and he spoke to us about kids in learning virtually, and also spoke to us regarding, should kids go to school? Should kids learn virtually? So does NDSS have any type of position with that? And, is there any data coming back about, it's been different. Lainey is learning from home, and it's been a different transition for us, but, I think we're starting to kind of settle in, but, do you have any, does NDSS have any position on that as well?
We don't. I think, right now it's not an easy time for anybody to be a parent, but especially in our community. We are looking right now with Mason will be virtual also. We don't start school for a few weeks, but, we're transitioning and trying to figure out how we're going to navigate this at home. But on our website, we've compiled a page that really helps parents look at some different tools that they can use, navigate if they do choose this online learning. Some of the tools are around visual schedules, having routines, incorporating breaks and different things into kind of the schedule as you break it out. And it all depends on the age too of our folks. I think what's a couple of pieces, and it's interesting because I talked with Voya today about back to school and, our disability community. And I think a couple of areas to just mention for folks to think about is to talk to your school district about your child's IEP plan. How we're going to adapt, how, the role of a parent is involved in there. And then when it comes to some of these additional equipment or services, like talk to your school district. A lot of school districts now are providing these, tools to make this transition a lot easier. I think that another piece that Voya shared with me, which I felt that was really interesting, is to look at your employer benefits as a parent. A lot of organizations now are adapting to COVID-19, and they're offering additional either childcare services. I mean, some are looking at paying back individuals for childcare services and have doubled the amount. So they say to kind of check with your human resource coordinator at your office. And the rules have changed around like flexible spending accounts and health savings accounts to help offset these costs, because I know at our home, we're looking at, do we try to find somebody to come in and help, supplement what Mason's learning to continue to go forward with this. So I thought that those were interesting pieces that I thought I would share with you all. My opinion, at the end of the day, we're all parents and we want our child's well-being to be the most important piece. And I think that, I tell my kids, as I'm smiling now, but I'm not always smiling, when we get in these stressful situations. But I don't want this to be a terrible environment for Mason to want to learn in. So adapt and realize that we're all doing the best that we can in these situations, and our kids are going to be healthy and they're going to be happy, and we're going to come out of this on the other side of it at some point in time.
Yep. I know I've said this before, but the thing about every pandemic that we've ever had is that they've all have ended. So I think everybody's kind of ready to go out to eat and, go to a sporting event. I know your son Carter, he is a baseball player, right?
Yeah. So we're crossing our fingers because he's going for school. So we're crossing our fingers we're going to have a spring season, because he didn't have a spring season for high school. So fingers crossed. Yeah.
So he had a difficult senior year, didn't he? Like most kids in 2020.
It was tough. I have to say he was very fortunate that his school had been doing some online and kind of virtual learning. So that transition was much easier than it's been for many others. So,
yeah. Well, very good. Well, we thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
This has been wonderful.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. And it was so nice to be able to just have a conversation and, that you're the face of NDSS, and there's such a great resource. And if you go to ndss.org, correct?
Yep. NDSS.org.
Is the website. I thought, as I said that, I thought maybe it was .com, but I just wanted to make sure. But there's so many good resources. Regarding the businesses, there's probably 20 different businesses that are on the website and the different things that people are doing. So it's just neat for people to go and see that, and just see what's going on. Also, Twitter,
Facebook.
Facebook,
Instagram, and now we're on TikTok. So
yes,
that's where Charlotte's video went viral, was on TikTok, and it got kind of picked up by all these. Never in a million years did we think like it would go that big of a deal, but it's interesting. We got to utilize all these platforms because we're reaching a different audience and awareness, and at the end of the day, that's what we want.
It is so true. I was telling my wife the other day, I said, my sons, read emails when they have to. And they don't go on Facebook because that's for old people. They get all their information on TikTok. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So their generation, early 20s, late teens, that's where they all are. So
and they're passionate and they're advocates and they want to make change in this world. So we got to utilize them. And John, I'll add too. I know you and Candy and others have my email address. Feel free to share that. I am more than willing, if folks have questions or have certain situations they want to reach out to me or our team on, like. We have an open door policy. Happy to help, anybody as much as we can.
That's awesome. Well, we'll put it on the page here, so it'll come up on YouTube and Facebook. And you heard it. If you have any questions or issues, and Candy, if we get some questions here that we can direct to you, I'll let you know so we can respond back to these questions that have come in the comments.
Happy to.
Yeah. So have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. I hope to see you guys soon in Savannah. I want to come visit you as soon as we can. It's safe.
Maybe Buddy Walk next year.
Next year. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Candy.
Right. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye. So next, what we're going to do is my beautiful other half is going to speak regarding Buddy Walk coming up. Again, just a reminder that Night of Champions is next Thursday. We're going to announce all of the winners and the President's Awards. So look for that coming out. It'll be live here on our Facebook page. But next, I've got Candy with some updates on virtual Buddy Walk. Here she is.
Hello to everyone. So awesome to have everybody with us tonight. I will not be long-winded. I just want to give a few quick updates for our virtual Buddy Walk coming up October 3rd. It's very easy to remember because it's 1 month from the Night of Champions, virtual Night of Champions, which is September 3rd. So those of you who have not already registered your team, or those of you who have not registered to walk, even if you're not walking with the team, there is still time. There's also still time to get your t-shirt if you have not registered yet. So go to our website and register, because the interesting part about this virtual Buddy Walk is that there is only pre-registration, because there is no on-site registration, because on-site is at your house. So make sure that you go online and register and get all of your other people's registered. Right now we have 12 teams. I know we have some more teams out there that need to register. So I'm looking for you. You might get a reminder email from me if you don't register soon. We do have 80 people registered. So let's get registering. Let's talk to our family and friends. The beauty of this is that they can register and walk where they are, no matter if they live in this country or another one. So let's get everybody on board so that we can have the biggest virtual Buddy Walk ever. Let's make this one count. We have raised up to now, we've raised $5,500. That's with our sponsorships and our registrants. So we are looking forward to raising more than that as well. So we need you to, if there's any sponsors that you have in mind that you would like for us to contact, we would be more than happy to do that. Our sponsorship levels are also posted on our registration site. So if you're wondering what those levels are, I'm not going to go through all of those with you right now, but we definitely want to see some sponsors on the back of our t-shirt. So before it goes to print, I need to know by September 3rd if we have a sponsor that would like to be on our t-shirt so that we can get those shirts printed and back to you guys in time to wear them on Virtual Buddy Walk Day. So basically, let's get registered, and we will be having more information and details about what we're going to do about t-shirt pickup. We also have some sponsor banners and things that we're going to be putting together so that we can run that all throughout the virtual walk. We want to make sure our sponsors we're showing them a lot of appreciation, because we really do appreciate all of their efforts and all of their donations that they are giving. So we just want to make sure we have definitely thanked them as much as possible in a virtual way. So we will let you know who those sponsors are as we get closer. We'll make sure to run those so that you can thank them as well if you are in their business or organization. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please, you know where to find me. My phone number is 912-663-8573. Got that number all the time. So if you have any questions on how to register or what sponsorships there are available, just let me know. And we thank you so much for all you're doing. Good night.